My garage smelled like regret and motor oil, the kind of place where dreams go to rust. I hadn't cleaned it in years, but today I was a man on a mission, or maybe just a fool dodging his wife's nagging. It was a Saturday, the kind where the sun feels too lazy to shine, leaving the world in a gray haze. I'd promised Sarah I'd tackle the garage, a promise I'd dodged for 3 years since we moved into this creaky suburban house. She'd been on edge lately, snapping over burnt toast, staring out windows like she was waiting for something to crash through. I figured a clean garage might buy me some peace, maybe even a smile from her. So there I was, knee-deep in boxes of forgotten junk, sweating through my old college t-shirt when I found it. A black duffel bag, wedged behind a stack of warped cardboard, heavy as sin. I unzipped it, expecting old camping gear or maybe my high school yearbooks. Instead, stacks of crisp $100 bills stared back at me, banded together like they were posing for a heist movie. My heart slammed against my ribs. I dug deeper, hands shaking, and pulled out a passport, not mine, not Sarah's, but some guy named Daniel Kessler with a face I didn't know. There was a burner phone, a folded map with red circles around towns I'd never heard of, and a tiny notebook filled with cryptic numbers and dates. My stomach churned. This wasn't just money. This was a plan. A runaway plan. My wife's plan. I sat there, cross-legged on the cold concrete, the bag's contents spilled out like a confession. Sarah, my Sarah, who cried during rom-coms and baked cookies for the neighbors, had a secret life stuffed in a duffel bag. We'd been married 7 years, shared a bed, a mortgage, a life. How did I miss this? Was I that blind, or was she that good at lying? I carried the bag inside, my footsteps heavy, like I was walking to my own execution. Sarah was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables with a rhythm that felt too calm, too normal. Her blonde hair was tied back, her apron dotted with flour from some recipe she probably abandoned halfway. "Hey babe," she said without looking up, her voice light but strained like a wire about to snap. "Garage done yet?" I dropped the bag on the counter. It landed with a thud that made her knife pause mid-chop. "What's this, Sarah?" My voice was low, but it carried the weight of everything I'd just seen. Her eyes flicked to the bag, and for a split second, I saw it, panic, raw and unfiltered, before she plastered on a smile. "Oh, that old thing," she said, laughing too loud. "Just some junk I meant to donate. Why were you digging through it?" Her hands trembled as she set the knife down, and I knew she was lying. I'd heard her lie before, little things like saying she was fine when her mom was sick, or that she didn't mind me working late. But this was different. This was a lie that could unravel everything. "Donate," I said, pulling out a stack of cash and slamming it on the counter. "This is 50 grand, Sarah. And this." I held up the passport, the stranger's face staring back at us. "Who the hell is Daniel Kessler?" Her face went white, like someone had drained the life out of her. She opened her mouth, but no words came out, just a choked sound that made my chest ache. I wanted to shake her, to scream, to beg her to explain, but I just stood there, waiting for the truth to claw its way out. "It's not what you think," she finally whispered, her voice breaking. "I can explain." "Then do it," I said, my voice cracking too. "Because right now it looks like you're planning to run. From me. From us." She sank into a chair, her hands twisting in her lap. "I wasn't running from you," she said, tears welling up. "I was trying to protect you." "Protect me?" I laughed, bitter and sharp. "From what? A secret life? A bag of cash? Who's Daniel Kessler, Sarah? Tell me." She flinched like my words were punches. "He's nobody," she said. "Not anymore. He was a mistake. A long time ago." I leaned against the counter, the bag between us like a wall. "Start talking," I said. "All of it." She took a shaky breath and the story spilled out, jagged and raw. 10 years ago, before we met, Sarah had been someone else, someone reckless, someone who ran with the wrong crowd. Daniel Kessler was her boyfriend back then. A charming con artist who pulled her into a world of scams and quick cash. They'd worked small jobs, fake IDs, forged checks until one deal went big. Too big. 100 grand from a shady investor who didn't take kindly to being played. Daniel took the money and vanished, leaving Sarah to face the fallout. She'd spent years rebuilding her life, becoming the woman I knew, the one I loved. But 2 months ago, Daniel showed up again, demanding she help him pull one last job to clear his debts. He'd left the bag in her garage, a threat disguised as a plan, and she'd been too scared to tell me. "I didn't want you to know who I used to be," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I was ashamed. And I was terrified he'd hurt you if I didn't play along." I wanted to believe her. God, I did. But the passport, the money, the map, they screamed betrayal. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "We're supposed to be partners, Sarah. You hid this from me." "I know," she sobbed. "I thought I could handle it. I thought I could keep you safe." "Safe?" I snapped. "You let a criminal stash a fortune in our garage. What if I hadn't found it? What if he came back?" My mind raced with images of faceless men breaking into our home, of Sarah disappearing in the night. I loved her, but I didn't know if I could trust her anymore. We sat in silence, the bag still on the counter, a ticking bomb. I wanted to fix this, to go back to the life where we argued about dishes and laughed at bad TV. But the truth was out, and it had changed everything. "What do we do now?" I asked, my voice hollow. Sarah looked at me, her eyes pleading. "We go to the police," she said. "I'll tell them everything. About Daniel, the money, all of it. I don't want to run anymore." I nodded, but my heart was heavy. The police meant questions, maybe charges. It meant our life, our quiet, messy, beautiful life might never be the same. But it also meant a chance to start clean, to rebuild on truth instead of secrets. That night, we sat in the living room, waiting for the police to arrive. Sarah held my hand, her grip tight, like she was afraid I'd slip away. I didn't know if we'd come out of this stronger or broken, but I knew I still loved her, even if it hurt. The bag sat in the corner, a reminder of how fragile trust is, how quickly it can crack. When the police came, Sarah told her story again, her voice steady despite the tears. I stood by her, not because it was easy, but because it was right. The officers took the bag, the passport, the notebook, and promised to track down Daniel. They warned us it wouldn't be simple, investigations take time, and Sarah's past might come under scrutiny. But as they left, I felt a strange relief, like we'd finally stepped out of the shadows. The days that followed were quiet, heavy with unspoken questions. Sarah and I talked a lot. About her past, my fears, our future. We weren't okay, not yet, but we were trying. I started to see her not just as my wife, but as a woman who'd fought to leave a dark chapter behind, only to have it claw its way back. I didn't know if I could forgive her completely, but I wanted to try. For her. For us. One night, as we sat on the couch, the garage empty and the bag gone, Sarah turned to me. "Do you think we'll make it?" she asked, her voice small. I took her hand, feeling the weight of everything we'd been through. "I don't know," I said honestly, "but I want to find out." She nodded, a small smile breaking through her tears. It wasn't much, but it was a start. "What would you do if you found a secret that could destroy your trust in someone you love? Is Sarah's past a betrayal? Or a burden she carried alone to protect her family? Should she have told the truth from the start? Or was her silence justified? Share your thoughts on trust, justice, and second chance. What's right, what's wrong, and where do we draw the line?